I love that it's always the camper that leaves the game. Garbage. That Wheezy dude. Wheezy 361.
That nigga was camping. That nigga been camping for like the past 15 games. And nigga was camping.
Alright, Freight's a good map. I'm out after this one.
The map before the last one, I had to tell him to get up out the corner and help. I was like, bitch, get out the corner and come help, motherfucker. And the nigga got up and started moving around and
shit. His daddy probably told him to just stay in the fucking corner because all he does is die.
What it do, YouTube, and welcome to the AOVI Clan channel. I am Nessinator1, and I will be your host slash commentator slash teacher for this educational video you're about to watch, covering our views and some tips and tricks with rushing in Call of Duty Ghosts and rushing in general, pretty much. Now, what you are about to be watching here in the background is two gameplay clips by two different players on the same map, of course. The map obviously being Freight, and the two players providing the gameplay clips are Candy Girl and myself. The first gameplay clip is of me running with the SMG, the Vector CRB, and the second gameplay clip is of Candy Girl, and she is running the MTAR X SMG. But before I get into the rushing aspect of the commentary, I want to get into what happened to us last weekend during Clan Wars. We did participate in our first Diamond Division Clan Wars last weekend, which was held by Infinity Ward. So if you didn't watch our last video, or if you did, you may remember me saying how horrible the first Diamond Division Clan Wars turned out for us. First Infinity Ward ended up canceling the first day of competition because of some hardware issues they were having with their bullshit Clan Wars app. If you guys haven't used this app yet, it is just an app they developed for clans. I wish it was more of a computer-based internet, site that we can go to like Black Ops 2 had, but this is just an app you need to download to your iPhone or iPad, and it is absolutely horrible to use. Then Infinity Ward actually canceled the third and final day of Diamond Division Clan Wars because, again, they were having hardware issues. So with only one day out of the three a success for the first weekend of Diamond Division Clan Wars, Infinity Ward was forced to save face and award the top 4 teams in each Diamond Division bracket an automatic win for the weekend. We were in third place when the final day was canceled. So lo and behold, yesterday we were awarded our victory patch, War Cry Gun Camo, War Cry Reticule, for winning our first Diamond Division Clan Wars. With the amount of frustration we went through, to be honest, that weekend with the damn app, we'll take it. But we do hope the next Clan Wars goes more smoothly, because we do miss the competitive side of Clan Wars. It was sorely missed, but we will take the free win. Thank you, Infinity Ward, for making amends. So let's talk about rushing, people. First and foremost, Ghost is really not a rush-friendly game, and I have to say, to this day, it is probably the toughest COD title to really master being a good rusher. So if this is your first COD title and you always want to be a rusher and you're practicing rushing, I kind of feel for you, but you're going to have to go ahead and take the good with the bad with this game, because it'll probably make you a more effective rusher in Modern Warfare 4 or Black Ops 3. Hopefully those games will stay as they did in the previous titles and just be more rush friendly. Rushing in Ghosts is unlike any other rushing in any other Call of Duty, I feel, because the maps are much bigger. There are much more camping spots for people to hide and blend in, and there are 10 times more corner campers because you have no dependable UAV system. So to master rushing in Ghosts, you will really have to focus on mastering your knowledge of the maps and the spawn areas. Now, when I do say rushing, I am not talking about camping the opposing team's spawn and bouncing back and forth around their spawn and calling it rushing. I see garbage YouTubers post videos all the time talking about rushing chems and rushing gameplays, and all they do is continually bounce around one spawn the entire game. Newsflash, fellas, that is not rushing. That is actually more in the realm of camping and spawn trapping, so let's not get it twisted here, kids. We will not be talking about that type of rushing. And rushing is also not throwing on the marathon perk with an SMG or shotgun and recklessly running around and not knowing where you're going and running around like an idiot. An effective rusher is a player who has good gun skill and great map knowledge / awareness. I personally feel that rushing, in its truest form, I would say, is the perfect balance between knowing when to push and knowing when to hold your ground, and when you feel your enemy is around the corner, knowing when to just chill out for a second. So let's get into that a little bit. But also too, I want to make clear, but once you have cleared, that enemy from around the corner that you were waiting for, that you continue to push forward to a different part of the map. A good rusher never calls one building or one room or one corner of the map home for too long. The key to being an effective Call of Duty player in general is moving around the entire map continuously throughout the game from one side to the other and back again, while keeping the opposing team guessing to which direction you are coming from. Keeping them off and back on their heels, that's what it's all about. Being a good rusher in Ghost, you also have to know which maps are rusher friendly. Now, before I get all the comments saying you can rush on every map if you're good enough. Yeah, well, you can also go swimming on the beach during a lightning storm, but just because you can do it doesn't make it a good fucking idea, so let's leave that idea out of there. With the larger maps, you want to take things much slower due to all the snipers and people using infrared and tracker finder sights. Yeah, you could still use a good AR, LMG, or even sniper class, but for the most part of the game will be slowed down by the other players on the battlefield holding long lines of sight and trying to shoot you from every nook and cranny in the corners of the map. So be smart, take those maps a little slower. Again, a good rusher knows when to push forward and also knows when to take a moment to survey the battlefield, so always remember that. Also, with rushing, you want to make sure that when you do rush, you try to avoid and run through the middle of the map the whole time. The key words in that sentence were all the time. Yes, sometimes rushing through the middle of the map is required and advantageous for your team, especially if the opposing team is not expecting it. But for the most part, when rushing, you want to stick to the outsides of the map, basically doing a circle around the map and flanking your enemies whenever possible. A good rusher is an effective flanker, and sticking to the edge of the map, keeps you and your enemies' flanks and keeps them out of yours. Now, I also get asked a lot of questions from subscribers, just whether it's comments or in our inbox, asking the question which weapons are better for rushing. There are no real definitive correct answers here, people. All the weapons in Ghost can be used for rushing. It really just depends on what the individual player feels makes them a better rusher. Some players live by the SMG, some love shotguns, some even love sniper rifles because they love the rushing quickscope. But no matter what your preference, your choice of weapon should probably be based more on the map that you're playing than anything else. If it's a close quarters map like Strike Zone, Tremor, Flooded, or even Sovereign, then the SMG or shotgun may be the best option for you. However, if you're an AR person, even on those maps you can use a Honey Badger, AK-12, Maverick, FAD, FAD, whatever you want to call it. They'll also do you just fine. So with the weapons, there are just too many possibilities, I would say, where one shoe fits all. It really depends on the map that you're playing and the way you like to play that map. Perks are also very interchangeable. I would say when it comes to a good rushing class loadout, however, in this category, there are some perks I feel you need to run with specific weapons to make you a more efficient rusher, I should say. For instance, if you're going to rush with either an SMG or shotgun, you want to make sure you are quick on your feet and you're quick with your aim, so perks like Ready Up, Agility, Quick Draw, Steady Aim, Focus, Blast Shield especially, because if you're going to be rushing around, you're going to be running into a lot of IEDs. You guys know how people are IED whores out there, so make sure you throw on a Blast Shield class if you're going to continuously run around with a shotgun or SMG. And also Ping. All these can work well with the SMG shotgun classes. In the cases of AR perks, it's the same, but you may want to consider other perks, maybe like Stalker, so you can hard aim around corners and keep pushing forward while you're aiming as well. ICU, you get into those mid-range battles and you want to go ahead and duck out of there real quick. You can recover fast and then continue pushing forward again. And also sleight of hand. Some of the AR rifles can take a little while to reload, in particular the AK-12. So those are all good things to consider as well when running ARs as far as rushing goes. Believe it or not, though, I'm not a big promoter of the Marathon perk, which is what Candy Girl is actually running in this video. With any rushing loadout, I'm not a big fan of it. I just feel it gets you more in trouble than it gets you kills. With the Marathon perk, you have a tendency to run, and before you know it, you turn a corner, some guy's already aiming down there, bang, you're dead. He was already aiming in a direction, you don't get to pull up fast enough, even if you have quick draw on. The amount of endurance I would say a regular soldier has is already more than enough to get you from one point of the map to the next, and it also will train you to push forward in a more controlled fashion, I would say. So instead of using those 2 points for Marathon, I would use it for rushing perk that I think is a must, which is like Dead Silence. Again, I'm going to have all those people out there with the Astros, Titans, Turtle Beaches, whatever, griping. But if you're going to be pushing into enemy spawns and enemy strongholds, you need to be able to be as silent and stealthy as possible. So always be sure to rock Dead Silence when rushing. It is a must to me, and I think it's a must when rushing, absolutely, along with Blast Shield, and Focus and some of those things. So that's something to consider. But I always find it amusing when randoms call us campers in the game lobby after we beat them. I used to get upset and argue with them, but then one day I try to see the game from their perspective. They spawn, they try to move around the map. They're quickly cut off at every turn. It can get frustrating for them because no matter where they go, we have players in that area, we communicate, we call things out. Like I said, you add that fact that we have that communication, and it just seems like we're everywhere. Their only defense is to start camping, but when the game is over, they call us campers because they were forced to camp, thinking that we were camping around every corner, when in fact we weren't. We were just there, and we just know how to push certain routes and make sure we close flanks off and stuff like that. So, for us being campers, we're far from it. I don't know how else to emphasize that. We don't camp. We do camp when we need to. There are some games, let me go ahead and, reiterate that a little bit. There is times that the game is 70-70 and it's a close game and we're battling it out with another good clan, another good team, whatever the case may be, and we have to come together as a team and hold down a certain building and just really come together and play as a unit. We will definitely do that when the situation calls for it. I think, again, that has to go back to what I said earlier about being a good rusher and just knowing when to push, knowing when to stay back, knowing when to play as a team. It's all about outsmarting your enemy, whatever classes they're running, whatever setups they're running, and trying to counter them as much as possible. So it's not always a rusher camping thing and which is better, because that whole debate, obviously the corner campers and people that do like the worm camping and all that stuff, those are really less skilled players that, they're not good players at all, and the reason they do that is they can't rush around like the videos that you're seeing in front of you, and that's why they play that way. So there is some gray area there, but when it comes to like good players, they understand when to camp, they understand when to rush, when to play as a unit, when you can just run around and just be running with a loadout you've never ran before. Again, you should know the difference between that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, it was a short little rant. I have more coming out this week, a video from Black Ops 2 and another video from Ghost. Again, I want to tell you guys I appreciate all your subscribes and likes and views and all that good stuff. The clan appreciates it. This is your boy Nessinator1 saying thank you very much, and I'm out.